question is that the proposed expenditure be agreed to. I call the member for Riverina.
Madam Deputy Speaker, you know you're getting old when you hark back to the good old days, but I was just talking to the member for Gippsland, and we recall back in the good old days, say that that's code for when the coalition was in government, that ministers actually came into this consideration in detail process and answered questions. It wasn't just an opportunity for a set piece by a backbencher or indeed an assistant minister to get up and spruik for 5 minutes about how good their party was and how bad the other side was. And this process here with agriculture, I don't see the minister representing the agriculture minister. That would be the member for Ballarat. I don't see her in the chamber. I appreciate the member for Edmunero, the regional development minister, is here. But it used to be a time when a backbencher would get up and ask a question in all sincerity, and the minister would then respond. And if the minister didn't respond there and then, they would take it on notice and respond in writing. But this is just an echo chamber. It is, as the Australian public sometimes argues, just a waste of time. And it's such a shame. I mean, the Labor members who are delivering their set pieces, there is a formula. There is a formula. The question is, have you ever visited a farm? Have you eaten food from a farm? Is a merino a sheep or a cow? And if they can answer those questions correctly, they get to come in here and deliver a piece from the Labor Dirt Unit on how good they are and how bad we are. And it's such a shame because this could be such a good process. I remember as Deputy Prime Minister, I used to come in and actually answer questions in this process, and if I didn't have the time to answer them in the 5 minutes allotted, I'd take them on notice and I'd respond to the person who asked the question, to the member who asked the question. But all too often we've got ministers who just aren't answering the questions, who just aren't using this process. And it is consideration in detail. I can see you rolling your eyes, member for Edmunero, but it's true. You probably weren't here during those times when we did actually answer questions. Now, I will ask a question. I will ask a question, Minister, and I hope you might take it to whoever's representing agriculture in this parliament. I think last time I looked it was Senator Murray Watt, but there were some rumours earlier in the week that he might be going to take a different portfolio. Will the Agriculture Minister work with the Environment Minister to listen to the river communities which will be so adversely affected by water buybacks? And I say that in the context of, in the budget papers, and I've just heard from the member for O'Connor saying that there's no new money in agriculture except for $107 million to shut down farming, to shut down the West Australian live sheep trade. But my question is around water buybacks. In the budget papers, it is listed as NFP. Now, I'm assuming that's not for publication. It could be anything, but I'm assuming it's not for publication. The amount of money that Labor will spend on buying productive water out of the Murray-Darling Basin to send down the mouth of the Murray, not to grow food, not to grow fibre, not to help those river communities' local economies. And what happens when you buy water, productive water, out of those productive areas is, well, the farmer gets his or her money. The market is distorted because the Commonwealth has come with a very big chequebook. The farmer goes off to the Gold Coast, but the little local cafe or the hairdresser or the garage, indeed the school, well, they lose customers, they lose clients, they lose, in the case of the school, children. And then what happens is the state government looks at it and says, well, that school is not entitled to however many full-time equivalents, so we'll cut the teacher numbers, we'll cut the administration numbers, and the school suffers. The river community, town or city suffers, and they are suffering. And I read here from the media release from the Shadow Minister for Water, Senator Perrin Davey, who does understand agriculture, who does understand farming, and who certainly understands river communities. And she talks about, in this media release, about the unknown figures. We know there is only around $1 billion remaining in the Water for Environment Special Account Fund set aside to deliver 450 gigalitres over and above the basin plan targets. We also know that, based on the most recent government tender, the government paid over $7,600 per megalitre. So simple maths tells us it will cost at least $3.42 billion to recover that volume. What we don't know is the government is is if the government's anywhere near that much money set aside, all we can see is the government from them is secrecy, and that is so true.
In accordance with the